You know, life can be hard sometimes. Sometimes you have traumatic experiences that kind of set you back. Whether that be you breaking your arm, your favorite character being killed off in a TV show or a movie, you name it. These things can take a toll on us. And afterwards you could say, we need a little bit of a breather, you know. Step outside, some fresh air. Felt it was appropriate too, since in this episode 3 of season 2 of The Last of Us, they are making their way to Seattle. So what better place to film this episode than Seattle? So grab a snack, sit back, and enjoy as we devour some spoiler talk of episode 3 of The Last of Us season 2. So this episode kind of starts off how you would picture it starting off. Ellie is traumatized by the events that just rolled out. She wakes up in the hospital basically screaming. This is also where I think Bella Ramsey doesn't get enough credit. I think she's absolutely an incredible actor. And some of these more emotional scenes, I think she knocks out of the park. Started off good, you know. Obviously, I knew this was going to be a slower paced episode. Then you have the scene with Tommy, where obviously he sees Joel's body. It's the first time seeing his brother dead. And he's kind of going through the emotions as any brother would, processing it. And then says, "Tell Sarah I love her," which I thought was a good nod. I will say I'm a little surprised that the intensity with Tommy is not there quite yet, like it is in the video game, because he basically just runs off, goes on a rampage, and you're following his footsteps, you as in Ellie and Dina. Most of the game, you're kind of following the carnage that Tommy lays out, so they're obviously taking a different approach with him not being at the death of Joel, and also with him, I don't know, taking this more reserved role, I guess, with the passing of Joel, and not being a maniac and kind of being the voice of reason, calling the town meeting. That was a big change with this season. I thought Cliff, or whatever the dude's name is that got kind of ran over by Ellie at the dance for making the comment about her and Ellie kissing. I thought his little speech was pretty good at the little meeting they had. Well, he had the introduction to the wolves in this episode. And they're basically this group of people that are just trying to survive like everyone else in this post-apocalyptic world. And they kind of use whistles and other ways of communicating to alert each other of enemies nearby. So we get the introduction of them. You have Ellie, who's basically traumatized. Tommy, who's mourning the death of his brother, trying to figure out what to do next while trying to rebuild Jackson at the same time. Overall, just kind of boring, if I'm being honest. Not my favorite episode, and I'm curious how they're going to stretch this out between 2 seasons. That's what I have a feeling like it's going to be too slow of a pace. That's my biggest fear after this episode, because the game already did that. It already drags things out, makes you wait way too long, I think, and stretches things out to almost to the level of you not wanting to finish the game, which I think is a bad example to lay down for the show, if you can avoid that, but who knows? We'll see. I do apologize a minute ago. I got the wolves all mixed up with the Seraphilite, which is actually what part of, is like the tribe that Lev is part of, that Abby gets involved with if you played the game. They were introduced. The wolves are actually who Abby is associated with. So that is her little group. Sorry about that little mix-up a minute ago. That was basically to introduce Liv. She will be coming into play soon. And the wolves basically stumbled across well, didn't stumble across, they're approaching Ellie and Dina. And that's kind of the cliffhanger they left us with on episode 3. Outside of that, I'm assuming in the next episode we'll be kind of introducing ourselves to the theater, you know, going from there, continuing the journey through Seattle, and that should be kind of fun. I'd like to check out some of the different spots that they actually filmed The Last of Us, or they're, you know, inspired by in real life in Seattle. I'd like to go check out some of those spots. Maybe I'll go down there and film a future episode. I've already kind of thought about that for the riverfront. I've been to that area with the Ferris wheel and all that good stuff, all the tourist attractions down there, but overall, you know, the season kind of hit a little snag, a little meh episode. Completely forgot to talk about Dina and Ellie's scene where she comes to her apartment, brings her the cookies, tries to soften her up. Basically, before she tells her she found out all the information about Abby and the rest of the wolves, and they're her little gang. She knows where they're at, knows where they're going, and basically tells Ellie that she withheld that information from her so she didn't bust out of the hospital and go nuts. Because I gotta be honest with you, Dina's kind of stealing the show. Yeah. Like I predicted after episode 1, the chemistry she has with Ellie, Bella Ramsey, I think is A+. And it's kind of unfortunate you don't get to see her do more with Pedro Pascal, because I think that relationship would have been really strong. So I'm hoping they have some flashback episodes and stuff in the future where we get to enjoy more of that relationship. But either way, that's kind of where I stand right now. You know, I'm curious to see where they end the season off. In the meantime, I'm enjoying it. So thanks for sticking around. Make sure to comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Stay blessed.